the fight could be won maybe by the person that takes the fight by the scruff of the neck. You know, sometimes in those kind of fights, it can be a very close fight with very close rounds. Neither fighter will want to be reckless. Neither fighter will want to make mistakes because they know they'll get punished. But sometimes you have to take the fight by the scruff of the neck in a fight like that. And perhaps the one that does it could edge out those close rounds.
Uses that back foot to control the ring, and if Teo wants to make his presence known, if he wants to be felt, he's got to cut the ring, attempt to control the pacing. And even so, we saw Cepeda coming at Shakur last summer with pressure.
Shakur is massively underrated in terms of his achievements and his ability. Everyone in boxing knows how good Shakur is. He is pound for pound, top 5 in terms of quality. But look at the achievements of the young man. At 28 years of age, he's already a 3-division world champion. This is to become a 4-division world champion.
Shakur is better than Martin. And I mean, Shakur's been in camp with Bud Crawford, and training with him. That's a scary thought for anyone standing across from him. Now, for boxing purists, this is absolutely a fight you gotta see. I'm really excited for this one, and I wanna know what you guys think. Who walks away with the dub? Are you team Shakur or are you team Teo? Let me know in the comments.
Eddie Hearn isn't picking sides. He's issuing a warning, and the reality he points out could decide how Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez actually plays out. Giving a reality check, Eddie Hearn believes this fight will be decided by who takes control early and sets the rhythm from the opening rounds, using smart pressure instead of reckless aggression. He sees it as a disciplined chess match where neither Shakur Stevenson nor Teofimo Lopez will seek explosive moments, relying instead on sharp technique, timing, footwork, and ring IQ. With 2 elite athletic fighters in the ring, it becomes a test of patience, composure, and endurance, leaving one question over 12 rounds. Who adapts best and raises their hand as the winner?
I think it's a fight that could be a little bit of a chess match early on. You know, you've got 2 guys that are very reactive, 2 guys that are super sharp, 2 guys that like to feint and set traps, and 2 guys with tremendous boxing IQ and footwork. So generally that lends itself to a fight that's going to be quite nip and tuck and a little bit of a chess match early on. I think the fight could be won maybe by the person that takes the fight by the scruff of the neck. You know, sometimes in those kind of fights, it can be a very close fight with very close rounds. Neither fighter will want to be reckless. Neither fighter will want to make mistakes because they know they'll get punished. But sometimes you have to take the fight by the scruff of the neck in a fight like that.
Besides outlining his strategy for who could win, Eddie Hearn also praised the often underrated Shakur Stevenson, highlighting that Stevenson has achieved a lot at a young age, and this fight gives him a unique opportunity to become a world champion and elevate his legacy. Talking about Teofimo Lopez, Hearn noted that when Teofimo isn't motivated or chasing a legacy, he can deliver lackluster performances, but against a fighter like Stevenson, he will be fully focused, highly motivated, and determined to give his best and secure the win.
For Shakur, I think Shakur is massively underrated in terms of his achievements and his ability. Everyone in boxing knows how good Shakur is. He is pound for pound, top 5 in terms of quality. But look at the achievements of the young man. At 28 years of age, he's already a 3-division world champion. This is to become a 4-division world champion. Quite remarkable. And Teofimo always rises to the occasion. Sometimes you see a little bit of a lackluster performance when he's not motivated, when there isn't kind of any legacy on the line. This is different. This is a sold-out Madison Square Garden between 2 of the elite fighters of our generation. And the best thing about this fight is we're seeing them in their prime.
As the stakes rise, famous TV personality Demetria Obalor also weighs in, noting Shakur Stevenson is a favorite going into the fight against a brawl-oriented artist like Teofimo Lopez, who thrives under high-pressure exchanges. Drawing from William Zepeda's fight with Shakur, she observes that Stevenson's style is similar to Floyd Mayweather in terms of defense and counterpunching, and the world will likely see that again. She also outlines how Teofimo can make his presence felt by following a strategy designed to handle Stevenson's pressure and impose his own game plan.
Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, who you got? And off the rip, Shakur is a -340 favorite, and being the tactical general he is in the ring, you can already see why. I mean, and he's going up against Teo, who for me is a real brawl artist. You gotta give it to Teofimo. He has got a lot of heart, and he really shines in the exchanges against opponents, just willing to let those hands go, and that's another reason why you got gotta love him. But Shakur is more slippery than that, okay? He uses that back foot to control the ring, and if Teo wants to make his presence known, if he wants to be felt, he's got to cut the ring, attempt to control the pacing. And even so, we saw Cepeda coming at Shakur last summer with pressure. He wouldn't stop, lots of volume, and what do we get from that fight? Supreme defense kicking in. People were comparing Shakur to Mayweather with those shoulder rolls, right? Accurate counterpunching, all of what we've come to expect from Shakur, and I do think we're going to see some great exchanges.
At the same time, Demetria highlights what Teofimo Lopez brings to the table, noting that he's known for performing well when closing distance, especially when opponents are on the back foot, similar to what happened in his fight against Sandor Martin. Although that fight cost Lopez dearly, he demonstrated his skill in closing the gap effectively. Despite this, she makes one thing clear: Shakur Stevenson's skills are on another level, and with his training alongside Bud Crawford, he is bringing something new to the ring this time around.
Some people a little bearish on the fight, thinking because of the clash of styles here, we're going to see something similar to what we saw a few years ago when it was Shakur versus De Los Santos. Absolute snooze fest. I disagree. Teo has proven that he can close distance when opponents are on the back foot, and we saw that against Sandor Martin, although it did cost him at times. One knockdown, another moment that kind of looked like a knockdown, but it wasn't counted. But Shakur is better than Martin. And I mean, Shakur's been in camp with Bud Crawford, and training with him. That's a scary thought for anyone standing across from him. Now, for boxing purists, this is absolutely a fight you gotta see. I'm really excited for this one, and I want to know what you guys think. Who walks away with the dub? Are you team Shakur or are you team Teo? Let me know in the comments.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. doesn't hand out praise lightly, and in this breakdown, he makes it clear: Shakur Stevenson operates on a whole different technical level. With years of mentor experience behind his words, Floyd explains why control, timing, and ring IQ could allow Stevenson to outclass Teofimo Lopez rather than chase dramatic exchanges. Timothy Bradley Jr. takes it further, analyzing the fight through footwork and rhythm. He warns that Stevenson can disrupt Lopez's explosiveness by controlling space and timing, turning Teofimo's power into hesitation and making every attack count.
Well, you got guys fighting between 130, 135, and 140. They stack, around that area. So, I mean, as of right now,
skills that pay the bills.
The most skillful fighter at 135 will be hands down Shakur Stevens.
Meanwhile, Timothy Bradley has identified key flaws in Teofimo Lopez's style that he believes Shakur Stevenson will exploit on fight night. Bradley notes that when Lopez tries to explode, he often takes a subtle pause to reset his footwork, a moment Stevenson can capitalize on. He explains that Stevenson's ability to close the gap during these subtle pauses is what makes him so dangerous. By recognizing this weakness, Stevenson can bring a higher level game to the ring and control the pace against Lopez.
Shakur, I believe early on, will do a lot of movement. He will. Because Teo, again, that subtlety in setting down his feet before he explodes with that power, like, I can see it. I can visibly see it. And a guy like Shakur with his IQ, because that's what makes Shakur who he is, is he might not be the fastest. He might not be the most explosive. But when it comes to quickness, as far as the processor, there's very few fighters out there that can process as fast.
Another perspective comes from Robert Acosta, who has closely observed the training of both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Sharing his thoughts, he points out that Lopez, with his offensive style and explosiveness, might have the edge in athleticism, while Stevenson holds the advantage in defense and ring IQ, which is where his true power lies. The fight could swing in Lopez's favor in terms of pace and momentum, using his superior athleticism to either push Stevenson in the later rounds or try to finish the fight early.
I think Teo is offensively explosive, and he definitely has the athleticism edge over Shakur. Now, I think Shakur's defense is high caliber, and his IQ is also high caliber. So it's a really good matchup, because it's kind of like Teo brings, he can either, depending how he fights Shakur, he can either make it a tough night or he can make it an easy night for Shakur. Same thing goes for Shakur.
Acosta asserts that although he gives an edge to Teofimo Lopez in terms of athleticism, he doesn't shy away from acknowledging that Shakur Stevenson's IQ and smart fighting make him superior in many ways. He highlights Stevenson's unique ability to control distance and defend with precision. Acosta also notes that, given the opponents Shakur has faced, he hasn't always received the credit he deserves, aligning with Eddie Hearn's claim that Stevenson is one of the most underrated fighters in the sport today.
Shakur can try to stay on the ropes the whole time, or he can utilize his legs and box circles around Teo. We don't know. But definitely with the athleticism edge, I'm going to give it slightly over to Teo. But, you know, not saying that Teo doesn't have a good IQ. I just think Shakur's IQ is very, like, I know people know that he's a smart fighter, right? But I think that when we talk about fighters throughout these eras, he's not really mentioned in these things because of the opposition who he has faced. But he does have some great IQ, and from a coach's standpoint, I get to see how he does certain things, why he does certain things. And I'm like, that's smart, you know, and he capitalizes. He got good range control. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
Meanwhile, speaking on the matchup, Amir Khan, who has seen and even worked with Teofimo Lopez in training, weighs in. He asserts that Teofimo brings power and skill that are rare even among top fighters. In his view, Lopez not only hits hard but also combines precision with relentless pressure, setting him apart from others. Khan predicts that if Stevenson underestimates Lopez or doesn't rise to his level, Teofimo could take control and impose his game, making it a serious challenge for Shakur.
The fight between Stevenson and Lopez, what a fight. Who wins that? Lopez. You think Stevenson? Lopez is a very good fighter, bro. I've trained with him, I've had him on the pod, he bangs hard, he's a good all-round boxer, slick. A lot of people don't give him the credit for how good of a boxer he is. Look, he's the type of guy I know about Lopez is that when he has to turn it up, he turns it up. And I think with someone like Shakur, he will have to turn it up big time. And obviously Shakur, we've not really seen him in the deep end. Look at Lopez, he's fought the likes of Lomachenko. He's beaten some great names on the way, man.
While the predictions and analysis keep coming, Keyshawn Davis also steps in, adding another intriguing layer. He believes that Teofimo Lopez won't start the fight explosively. Instead, the opening rounds will be slower, allowing Stevenson to take control early. Davis predicts Shakur will likely win the first 2 rounds as Lopez finds his rhythm. After that, as Teofimo ramps up his pressure and explosiveness, the fight becomes unpredictable, with both fighters' adjustments determining how the remainder of the rounds play out.
At the end of the era, it may have been Teo and Shakur, especially if you would never fight Shakur, right? How do you see this fight playing out?
I see it playing out, let's say, I see it starting off slow.
Okay.
And then I see as Shakur wins the first round, as Shakur wins the second round, slowly, I think Teo is going to eventually start picking it up and start imposing his will.
Right.
And then, you know, it's just going to go from there. That's how I think it's going to go.
That's a fair assessment.
That's a fair one.
Especially for that to be his brother.
I think it's going to be close. I think it'll be closer than people think.
Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson is fully focused on taking on Teofimo Lopez. Brimming with confidence, he explains how his unique defense and high ring IQ will allow him to absorb and counter Lopez's attacks. Stevenson is planning a versatile game plan designed to keep Teofimo on the edge, proving that no fighter is currently on his level. He also notes that he's observed some flashy basic mistakes in Lopez's style, which he intends to exploit throughout the fight to gain the upper hand.
No, I don't think none of these dudes is on my level when I'm at my best, so he got a lot to deal with come January 31st.
So without giving up too much, when you look at him as a professional and you see what he's done, the fights he's fought, his style, what is it about him that you are going to exploit?
I think he's the truth. I think he's the truth. He do a lot of things well. I think he flashy. I think it's just some basic stuff. I think it's some basic stuff where I feel like he makes mistakes. I think I'm gonna capitalize off those mistakes.
What is it about you that has you, looking at a fighter that you know is the truth and then saying, I want to fight him? It seems like it should be normal if you're a fighter, right? But that stuff is dying off in the game right now. And I feel like you one of the last of the dying breed that actually want real challenges.
Yeah, I'm competitive, bro. So it's like, I want to be the best.
Shakur Stevenson reveals why he chose to fight Teofimo Lopez. He explains that he has been competitive from a very young age, and after watching Lopez's last fight, he noticed mistakes that sparked his desire to face him. Stevenson wants to see if he can exploit those same mistakes while also preparing for Lopez's strengths. Considering this, Shakur is confident and determined to correct and capitalize on every opportunity, stepping into the ring ready to take control and prove his skill at the highest level.
So when I see certain guys out there, and I seen Teo his last fight, I was there front row, and I'm like, damn, this dude is like, he like a baby Roy. Like, he like doing things with his hands down, flashy. I thought it was cool, so it kind of made me want to get in a ring with him and see if he could do them things against my style.
Meanwhile, from the beginning of the fight buildup, Teofimo Lopez has been making comments aimed at getting into Shakur Stevenson's head, but Stevenson has stayed focused, showcasing his skills and silencing critics with his disciplined approach. He is determined to make Lopez pay for any mistakes. While Teofimo's style presents one of the toughest tests for Stevenson, his unique attributes and explosiveness could challenge Shakur and create difficult moments, making this matchup a true clash of skill, strategy, and athleticism.
What about, too, they just had their press conference in New York, the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson fight.
The things that Teofimo is coming out with, I don't think Shakur knows even what to say or reply to it. You know, I wouldn't even want to repeat the stuff that he's saying, but he's making some really, really fruity comments. But I suppose that's one way to get in your opponent's head. But I think that's a great fight. I think, forget all the sort of trash talk and the build-up. It's a fight between two genuine elite world-level fighters. We've seen how good Teofimo is. We know how good Shakur is and how dominant and, you know, just how in control he's been of pretty much every moment of his career so far. And I think Teofimo is good enough at boxing and moving and fighting to maybe cause him some problems.
Despite Teofimo Lopez's athleticism and explosiveness, Shakur Stevenson is considered the heavy favorite heading into fight night. His superior skills, discipline, and ring IQ are seen as major challenges for Lopez, making it difficult for him to impose his usual game. Stevenson's ability to control distance, defend with precision, and exploit subtle mistakes gives him the edge. While Lopez brings power and pressure, many believe that Stevenson's technical mastery and strategic approach will ultimately define the fight and determine who comes out on top.
For me, Shakur is as close to a perfect boxer as you can probably get on his day. He makes so few mistakes. He judges the range tremendously well. He's constantly looking for little ways in to score as well as staying safe, so they don't have a chance to really, you know, win the rounds back. I would favor slightly Shakur.
And there you have it. The analysis, predictions, and expert insights all in one place. With Stevenson's skill, IQ, and strategy going up against Lopez's power and explosiveness, Fight Night promises to be unforgettable. Who do you think will rise above and claim victory? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown. And don't forget to subscribe for more insider boxing analysis and fight previews straight to your feed.